Hello, my name is Julian, and in this video we are going to check the Cardano Node sync status. Where we came from, we have just installed the Cardano Node and executed the Cardano Node run statement. We did that about 24 hours, and now we want to check how far we have already synced the Cardano blockchain. So that's the goal of this video. What we also want to do is to check the performance of our server. So these two points will be part of the video. So let's start with querying the Cardano node. So here we have our node, this is our server, and as mentioned about 24 hours ago, we have executed the Cardano node run statement. So where is our node now? We have used the Tmux session manager, and now we are going to resume the Tmux session. So if you don't know Tmux, just Google it or check out our previous video, and there we have explained it very deeply. So I will check the session where Tmux is running. So Tmux ls, and we have session 0 with one window. So let's resume it. Tmux a minus t0. This will open the session 0, and this is what we have started about 24 hours ago. And as also mentioned, it will take probably more than 24 hours, as you see, to sync the blockchain for 100%. So we are going to test it now. So we go back to our documentation. You find it on developers Cardano.org, and we have to add one environmental variable to execute the command. So this is what we want to execute for the mainnet, and this variable we have to add. So you take this command, you add it to an editor, and you adapt it to your architecture. So in my case, it is in the home directory, then it's in the folder relay1, and there we have this database directory. This is the same command or the same path that you have specified, or we have specified here. So database path, that's the same. If you're not sure where it is, you go back to your server and you check it. In my case, it's relay1, and here is the database folder, and here is the node socket. Okay, so this is what we have to add. So you go to your home directory and type nano bash rc. And in case you don't have nano, just use vi or another editor and go to the very bottom. And here, this is what I already have added. So I have added it some minutes ago, and you have to add this as well. And in total, you should have 4 environmental variables for now. So you save it, Control X, yes, and you source it. So every time you remember, every time we change the bashrc file, we have to source it afterwards. So we have edited, and now we should be able to execute the below command. And what we want to do as well is we want to try to build this command ourselves. So we go here and we say Cardano CLI. What can we do? And here he says us what he can do. And here are all things. Query, node query commands. So let's continue with Cardano CLI query And then, so this is a bit very small, because I have the sessions, it's very difficult to read, so I will just copy and paste it. So excuse me for that, because I wanted to look for the tip and show you the explanation, but it's so small and I don't want to exit and do it again. So what we are doing is copying the commands, and here that's what we have executed, Cardano CLI. Then he showed us different things that we can do, and we wanted to query. And above he mentioned that you can query commands with it. And now we want to query the tip. But what you see here is not for the mainnet. You see testnet magic 1, and this is what we use for the testnet, but we want to create a Cardano node in the mainnet and query the mainnet accordingly. So we just add mainnet. And if we have more space, he will also show it here in the explanation. So Cardano CLI query tip mainnet. So copy. I will clear that we have that it's more readable, and I will paste the command. And if you have added the path variable to the bashrc file and sourced it, you should be able to see the output here. And this is what we get. This is the block, it's the epoch, it's the era. We are in the Alonso era at the moment. And very important for us, at the moment we are at %88.74. And as mentioned, we started to run the Cardano node 24 hours roundabout. And what you will remark, the further you go, the longer each percent will take. Because back then in Shelly, where Cardano was not even mainstream, there was a very low transaction volume. And now, since Cardano is one of the main used blockchains, the transaction volume increased dramatically. So that's why the further you go, the slower it will sync. So this will mean for us, we have about 88%. And from my experience, I think we will, I think 24 hours plus will maybe not be enough. So maybe it will take us 1.5 days to get to 100%. And to also make this a bit visible for you, the performance, I will show you the server performance here. What I like to use is this command. Ubuntu comes with htop per default. If you have another operating system, you can install it with install apt-get htop, or you can just use top. But htop is more visible. And here you see our server performance and all the sessions that take resources. We have memory of 32 gigabytes, and we use about 10, maximum 10 of that. So theoretically, since this is a virtual machine, I can downsize it. So it would make sense, also from a cost point of view, to downgrade it to 16 gigabytes of RAM. So next point, we see the CPU usage. We have 8 virtual cores of CPU, and they are not really exhausted. But I think we can leave it like this. So what I will try is to downsize it because we have a lot of overhead in memory, and I think it would make sense to go back to 16 gigabytes. And if you see that you only have 2 gigabytes of RAM, and you come to the limits, stop it, because it will take for weeks to sync it, and then even if it's synced, it will never sync to 100%. So make sure really to follow what IOHK has recommended. They recommend 16 gigabytes and 75 gigs of free disk. And this is the next point we have to check. We have now checked the gigabytes. We will see that we will be fine with 16 gigabytes. That's what we saw here. With the CPU, we are fine. And with the 75 gigs of free disk. This is, yeah, let's check it here. I will close this session. And I think the window might again be a bit small. df-ha. So I will go out. So that's two. So clear. I will go out of Tmux. This is done by Control B and D. And here I will go df-ha. We want to check our disk. And we have 200 gigabytes of disk. And at the moment we use 60 gigabytes of disk space. And we have 88%. And you have to imagine that this will increase as well. So at the end, it will be more of the 75, which is required here. So from my point of view, this is outdated, and you will be fine definitely with 200 gigabytes. Because with a sync status of 88%, we have 31% used. So maybe 150 gigabytes or 100 is also fine. That's what I wanted to show you. So we have checked the sync status. We have checked the Cardano. So let's go back to the sync status. We have checked the sync status. We are at 88%. We have checked our server performance. Here we see we can go down a bit with our RAM. The CPU is fine. We can also afford to go lower here. And for the disk, I think we are also totally fine. We have 30% used of our 200 gigabytes. And what we definitely can say that 75 gigabyte will be very, yeah, it won't be enough from my point of view, because also the blockchain is growing constantly. That was the goal of this video. I just wanted to show you how you get the latest sync status of the Cardano node, which is syncing. And yeah, this is totally normal if it takes 1 day, 2 days, or even 3 or more days. So depending on the server you are running. That's it. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to share this video and also leave some comments. And if you have any questions, also leave them in the comments. We will try to help you. See you. Before we quit, a small hint from my side. If you have not already purchased one of these NFTs, make sure to do so. This is a Cardano based video game, and depending on how the community appreciates the project, with other words, the greater the drop, the better the video game. And yeah, depending on that, we will create a very cool video game and use that opportunity as long ADA is that low. So that just as a small hint. See you the next time. Bye.